Hey everyone, you're watching Soundwaves TV. Chasta here, and I'm so excited to have the beautiful and very, extremely even talented Miss Pamela Parker back. How are you?
Thank you, Chasta. I'm so good. I'm really happy to be here with you.
I wore my rock and roll sweater just for you today.
I love that.
Oh, our goddess is coming in, so I gotta step it up a notch, put on the right earrings, which I knew you'd have badass earrings, and she does. Guitars. love that you embody the goddess energy.
Well, thank
and
you.
And you really push that forward. Behind the scenes, it's not when you're watching this, but today is International Women's Day, and it could not have worked out more perfectly for us to sit here and chat. I realized we haven't been together on this show since 2019, pre-COVID era.
Wow.
Literally a different
insane.
Time and space.
I knew it had been a while, but that's just like
ridiculous.
That long.
Yeah. So tell us what's been going on in the last 5 years.
Oh gosh, I don't even know. I don't know if I remember.
I know, right? A lot's changed.
Yeah, it has. But I mean, I still work at Hyde Street Studios.
You must be like close to what? 18, 17 years there?
Yeah, it'll be 18 years in May.
Wow.
So I'll finally be legal.
Yeah. I love it.
Legal at the studio to touch the knobs.
Yes, exactly. I love it. Hyde Street Studios, there's a documentary being made, right?
It is. That's right. And when we were having Jamie's 50th birthday party at Hyde Street, Michael Streeta comes in, and he had been at Muscle Shoals. And he told us the story of Muscle Shoals. You know, they have a great documentary.
Sure.
They make quite a bit of money per day on tours and merch sales. And I was like,
ding, ding.
Why don't we do that? Because we have all this history.
Yeah.
So, I said it enough that Chris McGrew picked it up, and Albert Lopez, and Telling Visions is also working on it. Spence Murray, my old bass player. So basically, like, my old band is producing the documentary.
I love that. That's amazing. You really brought everyone together to get this done. Hyde Street Studios does have such amazing history, and I think it's so cool, and that you're an engineer there and a producer there, but also that you're a female.
Yeah.
And I do want to talk about that today, being International Women's Day. We're going to kind of go down that path here, because I woke up this morning sort of thinking about that idea, and I thought, ooh, I get to talk to Pamela about this today. Are you the only female that does your job there?
No, there are some other females that have been there, and I know one of them's name was Laura, and I can't remember her last name, and she went off to, this other studio and another studio. There's a new girl there named Kira Gallagher that she reached out to me on Instagram, and she was basically running the studio at Chico State as a senior.
Oh, wow.
And so she had me come up, and I did a workshop. I taught their songwriting class. I taught one of the another class on music, and then we did a writing session in the studio. I think about 30 people showed up.
Wow.
And it was I do a special writing class with colors.
Ooh.
So, and it's a whole different spin on writing, and so you're not necessarily so stressed about what is the song going to be about. It's more like pick a color and just go with it.
That's fascinating.
And I learned that from Maestro Curtis, who was one of the first people I met here about 18 years ago before I lived here. And he taught me about the theory of color and sound healing. And so just to bring it full circle, in that moment, it was really, really fun.
Now, to go down that little rabbit hole, I've heard, and I don't know what it's called, but I've heard about people when they hear music, they see color.
Right.
Is that something that you do, or that he did, or is this just a theory?
Well, maybe. I'm trying to think, because when we were when I was interning with him and he was doing sound healing sessions with a couple who was working on an album, they would have us lay down and listen to a song, and then he would say, what did you see? What color did you see? What visions did you see? And we'd try to draw it.
Wow.
And I remember one time I saw this 3-dimensional orange pyramid with all of these symbols on it.
Wow.
When I listened to one of the songs that they were doing, and it was just like, it blew my mind. And so close after that, I was teaching my first songwriting workshop that I ever taught.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I forgot paper.
Oh.
So I go to the office, and they had every single color of the rainbow of paper. And I thought, I'm going to do an experiment in class today and see if this color thing works with songwriting as well as it worked with the sound healing. And it blew my mind how exact to the definition of the color each group was based on the color they chose. And so
that's mind-blowing.
It really is. It really is.
Well, what you're doing there, it seems, and I'm not a musician, although a music lover, obviously, and studier, you're marrying the power of your brain,
right?
Which is just an infinite amount of power. We squash it with, these things. We squash it with all the conveniences. But when you're really leaning into a song like that or a piece of music, I do this with classical because I love classical and jazz. And then you're marrying that with the power of music, and I'm not surprised to hear that something really magical comes out of that.
No,
that's incredible. And then really you exciting. Are able to teach that. How inspiring.
Yeah, and it's less stressful, I think, than thinking about like, what should I write the song about? You're
almost just following the muse.
Yes. Yeah. It's a little bit more organic too.
Sure.
And getting people to improvise in some of my songwriting classes, that's probably the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
It's like being an open journal.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are really scared to be an open journal. And I don't blame them because you don't know what's going to come out.
Right. Right?
Yeah.
That's how I feel on podcasts sometimes because podcast is a very open, freeing forum. You can say whatever you want and you don't have a time limit. And sometimes things come out of my mouth. I go, wow, I didn't know I felt like that. Like, do I feel like that? And I'm sure that's how songwriting is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. When did you start songwriting?
I don't know. I guess probably in college when I was doing music.
Yeah. Because you've done music since you were itty bitty, right?
Yeah, I've done music, but then actually like seriously doing music led me to go to school for music when I wanted to like decide on my major in college. I definitely went to college for a few years and didn't have a major. So my dad was like, so yeah, you might want to pick one because you can't go to college unless you pick one anymore.
Yeah. so many people relate to that.
Yeah. So, did a little trip with my friend, and we actually came to California, and I was in Sebastopol when it hit me that music was my calling and that was how I could change the world for the better.
Yeah.
One song at a time. So then I started really trying to write songs, and I was listening to music on, shuffle or whatever, and the first song I ever wrote came on the shuffle, and I just was like, it brought up all these emotions of like how I was feeling at that time, and it was really just a simple song.
Yeah.
Just really simple.
Yeah, so. But it was a timeline for you. It's like it's a marker on that timeline of your life, and what a beautiful thing to have.
Yeah.
You're a great songwriter. The song you released, I think it was last year, Chains, I love so much. Yeah. I love it. Lyrically, I just really appreciate the notion of that song. So
thank you.
Your voice is what drew me to you in the beginning, because your voice is just absolute powerhouse.
Oh, thank you.
When did you find that you had that voice? Like, where did, like, itty bitty?
No.
No. Because I can imagine you being like a 5-year-old just belting.
Right, I wish that I had that confidence. Yeah. No, when I was younger, I learned piano, and then my mom could always sight read and sing really well.
Okay.
So, that was really cool to have her do that.
Yeah.
And then I did piano lessons, and then we would go to the Kennedy Center a lot in DC, and so I wanted to play violin at one point. So when I moved to Oklahoma,
yes, we have an Oklahoma connection.
I started playing violin
Yeah.
in the orchestra, and then at one point the teacher got really curmudgeon when I switched to high school, and so I was like, screw this, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And all along I was also doing choir during that time, and then I bought a drum set. Because I was like quitting violin, so all the money I had saved in my whole life, which was $1,000.
I love that.
Which is quite a lot when you're little. I bought a Ludwig drum set, black, with that money, and then started learning drums. Couldn't take that to college with me, so then I, started learning my mom's acoustic guitar.
Wow.
And then she bought me a guitar for graduation day.
Yeah.
Which I almost lost, side note, because I got a tongue ring on senior spring break. On South Padre Island, the one place you could get tattoos and piercings at the age of 17.
Yes. Being from Oklahoma, I remember that being the case. We went to Texas for everything.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, I kept that a secret pretty long, from spring break to graduation day.
A tongue ring?
Yeah.
How did you keep that a secret?
I don't know.
People got very quiet all of a sudden. Yeah. She's like, hey, Mom. That's so funny. I went to Texas to get my first tattoo.
Oh, my gosh.
Belly button piercing. All of it. Anything goes in Texas.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
So funny.
Okay. I love that your mom was your start in music. For you and your brother, if I remember right.
And my brother too.
So it being International Women's Day, I woke up and I thought to myself, like, what does that mean to me? Because I've said multiple times, and on here as well, thinking about being a woman. Like, I'll be asking interviews myself, like, you know, how do you feel being a woman in a male-dominated industry? And my response has always been, I don't really think about it. Like, I don't wake up and go, I have a vagina, let's go. Like, that's never, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But then this morning I thought, maybe I should. I saw this interview with Pink. And I don't want to bring up politics and go down that rabbit hole here, but she said something that was so powerful, and it just happened this morning, and I went, oof, it hit me. She said, how can I not, having a vagina, say my piece in the world? Right. I am walking politics. Yeah. And more in 2025, we are than ever. Or not ever. But again, I mean, I never would have thought we would be back around to this place where we need to fight for our rights like we are going to have to do. Yeah. So I was challenged this morning, and I thought, well, maybe I do need to start thinking about that and leaning in. And I look to you because you do embody that femininity and that badass energy and that goddess vibe on stage and in your dress and in your clothes. Like, you really lean into it.
Oh, thanks.
Is that something that you think about, like harnessing that femininity as energy to put out, or is that just who you are?
I don't know. I feel like I wear a lot of pants, so I don't feel as feminine when I'm wearing the pants, right? And I guess I don't really think about it as much either, but I want to be an inspiration to other women to just be themselves. Yes. And I feel like, you know, knowing women in different generations, like my mother's generation and her mother's generation, and then how they were just like kept quiet or just made the food that the husband wanted, or, you know, different things like that, where it's like, well, what do you like to do? And it's like, well, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. And that blows my mind so much when you ask someone what do they like and they don't know what they like. So it's like we live in a different world than that now, where you know, my partner, he does make dinner sometimes, and he does like contribute to the housework, and I'm like, I'm keeping you. Yeah, you know? Like, we're not going back. Right. So, but that to have that be so surprising. Yeah, I know. Right. Yeah. And then you're, in a way, you're taking it for granted a little bit because you're living in that world where like your partner does help clean the bathrooms and do things that like a lot of people traditionally is just like the women's job, or the housemaid or whoever is coming to clean is their job or whatever. Right? Yeah. So it's an interesting world, and I feel that I have experienced being a woman in the male dominated world in so many ways. Me too. Yeah. But I sometimes am fearful of exposing that. Because I don't want people to feel bad that they treated me some way that they don't even know why they're doing that. Oh, that's interesting. I think that some people don't even know that they're doing that. And they just ingrained. Trust that the person who looks like that is going to do a better job than the person who looks like that. Or it's like a safety thing where just because it's always been a white man with gray hair doing engineering. Yes. Right. Yes. It should be that now. But like a young woman who maybe doesn't look her age. Right. Does she really know what she's doing? Like, I don't know. Even though you've done that job for 18 close years. To 2 decades. Actually 25 now. Oh, okay. There you go. Let's not age me too much, but, you know, I did start working in studios before I lived here. I managed Avalon Studios. I was managing One World Studios in D.C. Yeah. And just, like, I've done a couple records with other artists before I moved out here, before I even graduated college with my music production degree. So the headline is, you know your shit. Right. But then you may not look the part to some, I guess. But you don't get the experiences that other men in the industry get because they get the calls. Sure. Yeah. You don't get the calls. Yeah, you got to fight for your place. You have to be like, I'll be looking at the schedule like, oh, can I do that session? Can I do this session? And then, you know, it's like kind of no comment on what happens next because I love where I work. Yeah. But still, I understand that I'm probably not going to be the first one that they call because some artists aren't even allowed to work with women. Their wives will not allow it. I have we don't need to talk about who that is. Too. Yeah. But there are a few, and it's like I've heard of it over the years. I've experienced it over the years, and it's like I'm not even allowed in the room. I've had that with some people, and it's not my fault. It's not because I don't know what I'm doing. It's because they were promiscuous or whatever. Yeah. Or their wife doesn't trust because she's promiscuous or whatever. Yeah, right? Exactly. And so it becomes a thing. A thing, right. And I wish that it wasn't a thing because can't we just all be who we are? But no, we can't. Yeah. Because, you know. I've done interviews with rock stars that either couldn't take a picture with me
because if their wife saw it on social.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm talking in public, backstage, a picture. Or if they took a picture, they couldn't touch me. Oh. So they stood with their hands behind their back
they were going to jail.
Like that. Yeah.
I didn't do it.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it is interesting. I think I just woke up feeling a little bit challenged in a good way this morning.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to reframe this. And I said to my husband, I feel more in tune with my great grandmother, who was a quote unquote witch. That's what she was called. And she was ostracized for that, and basically became a hermit, lived in her house and quietly, and just kind of went away, which is really, really sad. But I feel like I need to lean into what I resemble from her on her behalf, because now I can.
Right. It's more acceptable now.
Yeah. And so I think as us women in a male-dominated industry, less so now, but still, it is. We're definitely still the minority. Yeah, no question. I think we do need to lean into owning that energy that comes from being feminine.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm going to take note from you, because you do that naturally.
Yeah. And I love to help other women too. It's a lot of women are catty and don't want to help you.
Sure. Oh,
because you're in a competition with the only one slot.
Right.
Or two slots.
That might go to a woman. Right.
Yes.
Right.
And so, I understand that fear, but I also don't want to live in that either, because, I'm more of the type of person that if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Yeah.
If I'm not supposed to be there, I'm not supposed to be there. And, recently it came to my attention what's going on with certain people in the industry from Florida, and the music industry. One of them is in jail, and there's rumors of other of them. Yeah. And a decade ago I was working with a management company, and they were like, "Oh, we sent your stuff to Jay-Z, blah 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 blah." I was so devastated at the time that didn't work out. Now I'm like, thank you. I know why that I was saved, and it's just you go through life and things don't work out, and it's spinal tap after spinal tap after spinal tap.
Yes.
And watching that movie, every new artist, I'm like, did you watch Spinal Tap yet?
Yeah.
Because watch it 4 or 5 times and just accept that at least half of those things are going to happen to you or someone you know.
Yes. Lessons from Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I mean, I didn't think, they wouldn't happen to me, or that they might.
Yeah.
But then actually having them happening, and then you feel like, well, why didn't that work out? And I thought, this or that. And it's really just the universe saving you.
You have to trust the process.
You have to trust it. So now that it's been so long since all of that, and, I don't want to disparage any of those people's names or anything like that.
Yeah.
But perhaps that was a better route for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you see it that way.
Being that, but I was really bummed out about it at the time. This was my one shot, or finally, I'm talking to people that are really big in the industry, and I've never had that before. Right. And then all these people are coming at me can I be your manager? Can I help you with this? Can I do that? When they find out from the person that they're thinking about me. Yeah. Not from me, but from the other person, right?
Wow.
And so, knowing that it was really happening, but then getting kind of turned down, and you're just well, what? I don't understand. I don't have enough money. Am I not skinny enough? I'm a woman, so they're looking at, what do I look like? How many more years do I have left?
Till you expire. Yeah,
I have as many years as Sammy Hagar has.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Yeah. Yes, and you are.
Yes.
And I feel like you have really taken your own career in your own hand. You do so much of it, I'm sure, on your own. It seems like you're a hustler, and I mean that with all due respect. That's a great compliment. I get your newsletter. Sign up for her newsletter.
Yes.
So I keep up with you there, and you're doing all kinds of stuff, all kinds of great shows. You're a real estate agent now, which is amazing.
Right? Yes.
Real estate agent by day, rock and roll goddess by night.
Real estate rocker. That's my subtitle now.
I love that. That's great. So what is that balance for you? Trying to figure all of this rock and roll crazy lifestyle out.
The balance is I pick and choose what shows I want to do.
Smart, yeah.
Just because it's going to cost me money if I don't have enough people there, or if the guarantee's not enough, or whatever. And sometimes it's, it's really stressful emotionally too, to do shows and to think, oh, what if nobody comes? Or I recently did a piano show at Piedmont Piano Company, and I haven't done a show on a piano I think since college.
Oh,
where
wow.
It was just a grand acoustic piano and me. Yeah. And then I think I was so nervous to be alone that I invited Sunshine Garcia to come sing with me and play flute because she's such a great singer. Yeah. And we've done, like these Grateful Dead gigs together and stuff. And I just know I can count on her.
She was like your Linus blanket.
Yes, exactly.
Like your comfort
and I
thing.
was like, I don't love being alone on stage. I like the community that you have where you're looking over and you're like, haha, well,
you're used to the
fun.
Fantastic Machine, you know?
Yeah, where I can just stand there and it sounds great. I don't do anything. And I could just be like,
no, but you vibe off of people. Like you're used to that,
yes,
you know? Yeah, you riff off of it.
Yeah, but that was emotional because I just was worried like nobody was going to come or like what. And then when it was over and we had a full room and everybody was like so excited and, then I felt better. But leading up to it, I mean, it was just like up and down and up and down and like, should I do that? Should I cancel the show? Like what's going on? And it's just emotional, and I wish that I didn't have to get that way anymore, but I think that's just a part of the whole thing.
Yeah, it is. And I think everyone deals with that. Knowing enough, I mean, here at Soundwaves, we know a crap ton of musicians, and we hear a lot of the same sentiment.
Yeah.
It's an emotional roller coaster to be a creative. And I think a lot of people that want to be an artist or want to be a musician, they think about making songs, right?
Right.
And that is one tiny little piece of the puzzle. And then there's so much of the other stuff that people don't consider or have any knowledge on, or like on the business side of things.
Oh, that's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole other thing. And they don't even take the time to understand it. It's like, no, I'm going to make my songs and I'm going to be a rock star. Yeah. And it's just like, it's just so not that, especially now.
Yeah. No.
In 2025. You
it's
have
a lot of lead up, a lot of social media, and, all the artists that I produce and work with at Hyde Street.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I'm not just going to work on your album with you.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about pre-production, getting the band ready.
Yes.
I'm not going to let you step foot in the studio until you know everything perfectly, and we're not going to waste a minute.
That's great.
Like, we're going to meet with the band a few times at least.
Yeah.
And then, but when it's all done, then I'm still not going to leave you.
Yeah.
Right? Because most people, they hire an engineer or producer and then they do the album and then it's like, bye.
Yeah. Good luck.
I am concerned with what's happening when we're done.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to promote it? Do you have any money left to do this? And if you don't, I sincerely invite you to switch the budget out a little bit.
Yeah.
So you at least have like a couple $100 per song to promote it a little bit.
Yes.
And, seeing some of my songs take off when I just had like a little bit of money, just like a baby, the most babyest of bits, compared to
little marketing budget.
Right. Just, now it's like $1 million for each single that labels are putting out.
Jesus.
And I'm like, is this really where we're at here? And then it's basically just a bunch of not even real plays that they're getting on there, like 7 million plays. And it's like, but how many of those were not bots?
Exactly.
Or how many of those were not like your social media person who had 60 phones playing them all in loop?
Yep.
It's
hard to know what's real.
Yeah.
It really is. That's why I think an artist like you, who is so genuine and authentic and raw and real, breaks through. You break through the noise, and especially on social media, which is very hard to do. It's very hard to get somebody to stop scrolling, but you being a natural, I'm going to use the word again, goddess. I love your outfits, like helping pick, your outfits on social media. That's been huge lately.
I was like, why haven't I started doing this before now? This is like our most viewed videos.
Well, because it's fun and it's engaging and it's interactive and it's different.
And you ask people's opinions.
Yeah, and everybody wants to say their piece.
Yes, and I want to know. I literally do want to know. Like, am I picking the outfit that you guys all actually like, or am I just picking the one that like I like? Which either way, I don't care. Like, if it's the one I like and the one you like, I like them all. But it's interesting to see how much more engagement you get when you ask people to share in that with you.
Yeah.
Because they want to be a part of it too, and they are.
And then they're invested in it.
Right. And they're wondering, like, I got so many people asking me, like, what did you end up wearing to the piano show? And this is just people I'd be calling and talking to on the phone. Like, we're not even on the social media anymore. We're just like, oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, what'd you end up wearing to your show? And I was like, oh, you didn't see the picture I posted? It's just, it didn't get as much engagement to show what I actually wore than it did to like just watch the video to ask. And I'm definitely gonna keep doing those. We just did one for our shows coming up in March.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely gonna be doing some leading up to High Sierra, because
So excited. You're playing High Sierra, July, what is it, 2nd?
I'm playing on the 3rd, July 3rd,
okay.
but the whole thing is July 3rd through 6th.
Okay, gotcha.
So we're playing on Thursday, July 3rd, 7:45 to 8:45 p.m. in the vaudeville tent.
Awesome.
So that was like my dream to play there, just because it's such a cool atmosphere. And I've been playing High Sierra for over a decade now. This will be my 11th year.
Wow. So you have to take it. Yeah. Speaking of Spinal Tap, it's all coming back around. You got to take it to 11.
Exactly.
It's going to be so cool. So do you have any idea what you're wearing? Now that we're talking about it. Fringe, yes, I love it.
I may actually make something because I like to sew too.
Okay,
I'll make, if I have enough time, I will make something. But I have this vision of like rainbow fringe, kind of like a longer skirt in the back, shorter in the front, something along. We'll see what happens.
Okay, along the vibes of a High Sierra.
And then just have the Fantastic Machine, and then I want to do like on a last song, do like a big High Sierra party, where it's High Sierra vibes, where you have like so and so and so and so and so and so sitting in, and it becomes
collaboration
the party. So
oh, I love that idea. Well, I love that you care about the full package. Like you've got your music, which is absolutely stellar. Your voice is just absolutely insane. But then you care about that because there's a lot of bands that don't even think about it, and it does matter. Taking that extra step to have a vibe, and and to like, I see white sunglasses anywhere, and I think of you.
Aww,
and you can buy them on Pamazon, by the way.
That's right. Pamela Parker rocks.
Yes. She's got great merch. But so I think it's smart that you do it that way, that you think of the whole package. And you rock it like the goddess that you are, which I've said like 10 times.
Yes. And you're also a very amazing goddess.
Oh, I try to keep up. But
well, you're doing it.
Thank
it's definitely the doing it.
Well, the women have to look out for each other. We're going to have each other's back. That's for sure. So Pamela Parker rocks on pretty much everything, right?
Yeah,
on all the social media and the website and all that.
Exactly.
ShopAmazon.com.
Pamela Parker rocks.
I love it. Pamela Parker rocks.
We don't want Amazon taking me down.
No. That was a joke. Pamazon. I need to use the air quotes.
Yeah, it is.
And also sign up for the newsletter because, like I said, that's how I love, because the algorithm, sometimes I see your post, sometimes I don't. We don't even know what that beast is.
Yeah.
But having a newsletter that gets directly to the people that love you is so smart that you do that. Not enough artists do that.
Really? I think I've been asking certain people, like, how many people on your email list? They're like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't you know that these social media outlets could just end at any time?
Did we not learn anything from TikTok?
Nothing. Yeah, exactly.
It can be turned off and on at any time, but you have connection with your audience, and that's smart. So
big,
sign up for the newsletter. All right. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right. Check her out, Pamela Parker. You're watching Soundwaves TV.